And wherever you are, go ahead and share tonight's episode with someone, with a friend. And if you're driving in your car, let someone know where they can hear TMG.
It's time to get on board. TMG is taking off.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to TMG. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. I enjoy discovering and sharing real-life moments of inspiration from everyday people. And this show is about finding moments of inspiration for our everyday lives. And look, and if you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good. Hi, everybody! Welcome to a brand new episode of TMG. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. Hey, guys, real quick, do me a favor. You know how we like to do this. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like our YouTube page. That's Tell Me Something Good with a capital T. And as always, before I get started, this show would not be a show if I don't give a huge shout out to my biggest supporter, my biggest fan, my lovely wife, Nicole. Hey, girl, how you doing? I know you're watching. I know you're listening. Man, today's episode has really been having me buzzing. Yeah, like bees around honey. This episode has been keeping me up. I couldn't wait to get here, and I could not wait to have you join me. And whether you are joining me for the very first time, and maybe someone told you about the show, or maybe you found the show by accident, however you are here, I am so glad that you are. And whether you are joining in Spain or Portugal or Canada or Great Britain or Germany or France, wherever you may be around the world, thank you for joining me in TMG Tell Me Something Good podcast. Guys, tonight's episode is going to be amazing. Next time with Travis, listen, man, hold on. I've been streaming and watching your show ever since you've been on. Let me tell you something. Thank you very much for your continued support. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Guys, listen, this is going to be an amazing show. I want to go ahead and get some stuff out the way because I don't want to hold up. Now, listen, if you've been watching this show or listening, this is your first time listening, everybody knows that this show is all about finding moments of inspiration in our everyday lives. So if you have an inspiring story that you'd like to tell and maybe come on a show, drop me an email at tellmesomething21@gmail.com. What was that email, Travis? tellmesomething21@gmail.com. He said, well, Travis, listen, I know someone that has a great, amazing, impactful story that your audience would love to hear, but I don't want to come on a show. I'm a little camera shy. That's okay. You can still drop us that email at tellmesomething21@gmail.com. And listen, you can even remain anonymous if you like. There you go. Guys, I'm going to play some information from our sponsors. Once I get that out the way, guys, we're going to dive right back into this because this is going to be amazing. What, behind me? What's this behind me? Guys, listen. Everybody knows, or most people are aware, that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's right, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In 2024, an estimated 310,720 women and 2,800 men will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. Chances are you know at least one person who has been personally affected and impacted by breast cancer. But there is hope. When caught in its earliest localized stages, The 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. That's right, 99%. So the key is early detection. Please see your healthcare advisor. If you need more information, you can visit the National Breast Cancer Foundation. The information is right there on your screen, www.nationalbreastcancer.org. Guys, we're going to play some information. Get this out the way when we do. Yep, we coming right back. Don't go nowhere. I'm glad you're here. Look, I'm rocking my pink. You got pink on today? I hope so. Let me play this information, guys.
Walmart is a proud associate sponsor of TMG Tell Me Something Good podcast. Please use the special link bit.ly/tell me something good and visit our sponsor. Remember, I may earn a commission when you buy through this link. Fanatics is the place to go for all of your officially licensed sports gear from your favorite sports and sports teams. Use the special link bit.ly/tell me something 21 and pay a visit to our sponsor today. Remember, I may earn a commission when you buy through this link.
Breaking your phone sucks. Breaking your phone, then trying to sell it online sucks. Breaking your phone, selling it online, only to find out that the money you'll only get for it sucks. Breaking your phone, selling it online for peanuts, shipping it, and finding out that you got scammed sucks. Gizmodo makes selling your phone fast, safe, and simple by paying you the highest price for your device. And with Gizmodo's free unlimited shipping and price guarantee, millions of people are starting to sell on Gizmodo. Fast, safe, simple. Gizmodo, the best way.
There you go, guys. Please visit one of our affiliate sponsors. The information is below in chat. And if you are not watching this right now, guys, listen up, because that information will be played for you. Guys, listen, if you did not catch today's episode title, guys, I know you're wondering what it is. Guys, today's episode title is Hanging On. Yeah, Hanging On. And I know I meant to put that the way that it is, because sometimes you don't hold on, you have to hang on. Yeah, it's hanging on. That's when you've given everything you've got. Sometimes it's just hanging on. And that's today's episode topic. Guys, listen, I want to put up a couple of pictures real quick, guys, and I want to ask you a couple questions, guys. Take a look at this picture. Yeah, take a look at this picture. What do you see? A person hanging on to a rope with two hands suspended between the mountain they need to get to and the ground below them. So they're hanging on with two hands by a rope suspended between the mountaintop they need to get to and the ground they're trying to get away from. Now take a look at this picture and tell me, what do you see? It's a person in the middle of a tug of war. He's pulling and holding on to this rope with both hands. It's the person in the middle of a tug of war. They both look similar. And the only difference is the perspective of the picture. One is vertical, like the man hanging from the mountain, and the other is horizontal. He's standing on the ground holding the rope. One picture is horizontal, and the other one is vertical. But what if I tell you the same thing is happening in both pictures? Both pictures, with the man hanging from the mountain by the rope, or the man in the middle of a tug of war with the rope. What if I told you both the same thing was happening in both pictures? They both are pictures of a person in the middle of a tug of war. Yeah, they're both in the middle of a tug of war. The picture of the person hanging on the rope, dangling from the mountaintop. Listen, that person is in the middle of a tug of war between the top of the mountain where they want to go and the gravity that keeps pulling them down. Hanging on to what you dream places you in a tug of war with the very dream you've been trying to pull towards you. Yeah, hanging on puts you in a tug of war with your dream, your hope, and the things you want changed in your life. Guys, today's special guest understands that sometimes changing things up is really just another way of finding out how to hang in there. Yeah, just how to hang in there. She is a life and purpose coach. Guys, do me a favor. Give a huge TMG welcome for Beth Robbins. What's up, Beth? How you doing?
Hey there, Travis.
Beth, I'm so excited to have you joining the show today, Beth.
I am honored and grateful to be here, Travis.
Man, Beth, this show has been bothering me ever since we talked, and I couldn't get rid of it, and it's on me. Beth, tug of war. People are in a tug of war with what they're hoping for, a tug of war with their dreaming. You're on rope, and you're trying to get someplace. You're trying to achieve something, and you're in the middle of this tug of war. And at any time, if you let go, you lose what you're trying to go. You just have to keep hanging on, Beth. You just got to keep hanging on. Beth, you are familiar with hanging on to your dreams, to your hope, and all those things. But what you are doing now isn't where you started, though, Beth. It's not how things started with you. Where did you begin, and at which point did you feel the need to change?
Well, thank you for that question. I'll tell you what, I started off in showbiz, in musical theater.
Wait a minute. Show business? What?
Yeah. I know, right? You weren't expecting that one, right?
No, not that one. Anything but show business. I
know. So I became a wife and a mom, and show business was not congruent with that lifestyle. So I kind of took my dream and put it in a closet for a little while.
Okay.
I want to tell you this analogy I just heard. Dreams are like a beach ball into a pool, and you try to stuff it down under the water. And you hold it, and you can hold it down there for a while, but eventually it's going to pop up. You're going to get distracted, right? And that dream that's in our heart, that's in our soul, it's there. It doesn't go away. So even though you put it aside, so as a wife and a mom, I was the champion and cheerleader for my kids' dreams, my husband's dreams.
Right.
When all of that kind of came to an end, the kids left the nest and my marriage came to an end, it was like, you know what? It's my time.
It's your time.
It's my time. And I realized it took me a little while to get my stride and to reinvent it. I think that dreams kind of evolve a little bit.
Right.
But my heart-centered dream has always been to help people. And even when I was in show business, I used to say a little prayer backstage that if the words that I sing or speak affect one person tonight, then my goal is achieved, my dream is achieved. And so now I just want to take this out to the world, and my biggest message is that you can do it, and giving up is not an option. Giving in is not an option.
It's not.
I looked at that tug of war, and I saw me on the other end saying, let me take you with me. Come over here. Because I've been down the road. So rather than letting it be a struggle, allow the energy of your dream to carry you to the finish line.
Man, guys, did you hear what she just said? It doesn't have to be a struggle, man. And here it is, Beth. When I looked at those pictures, and I see these two individuals, Beth, and they're both hanging on by both hands. They're both hanging on, and they both are doing the same thing. The guy hanging with two hands from the mountain, he's in a tug of war. From the mountaintop he needs to get to and he wants to get to, and the gravity that keeps trying to pull him back. And there's always things, Beth, there will always be that negativity and those negative things. You said you have your children through their goals, and your marriage, you have to do those goals. And when all that went different directions, there was gravity saying, you're too late. You're too old. You can't start again. There's no way you'll start again. All those thoughts that's telling you that you can't do it, all those things that say, no, 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 all those things that say you passed your prime, you passed your moment, you missed your opportunity, all those things, that's the gravity that's pulling you back. Everything that's saying everything is just fine the way it is. Why disrupt your life now? You had every reason, Beth, to say, well, why disrupt your life now? Just stay this way. Right. And you decided to disrupt your life because, like that beach ball in the water, it kept coming up. Have you ever, let me ask the audience this. Have you ever had something that you was hoping and you were dreaming, and the more you tried to put it off, the more that dream kept popping up? You tried to sidetrack it, and everything you saw was that dream. You tried to do something different, and everything you saw was that dream. It's like that beach ball in water. You can listen. You will get tired before that ball does. You will get exhausted, then give up before that ball does. Your dream has been waiting on you to let go. It has been waiting on you to say, okay, let's do this now. And Beth, kudos to you for pursuing your dream and not letting gravity pull you back. Because sometimes, Beth, we got to keep hanging on.
Oh, yeah. And those negative thoughts, that's a well-worn groove in your brain.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
A trail that it's like, you try to get off the trail, and it's like, oh, no, come back. This is the way we've been thinking all this time. And it's a paradigm. And we all have fear that pops up. I don't know what I'm doing. Imposter syndrome. I don't know how. Nobody I know has ever done this before.
Yep, that's it.
It's just chirp, chirp, chirp. And if you can take a pause and just say, okay, I see you. I hear you. I recognize you. I'm going to shake hands with you, but you're not stopping me.
There you go. See, guys, I told you this was good. Hanging on. What were some of the challenging moments? Because we're talking about changing. You said, I started in entertainment, and now you're life coaching and you're encouraging people's lives. You had to change something. And when you made this change, so what were some of the challenging moments you encountered while making these changes, Beth?
I had to find me, Travis. I realized that all along, towards the end of my marriage, that there was something missing in my life. I was fulfilled. I was working as a personal trainer, but there was something missing. And it was a very deep, dark moment that I realized what was missing was me. And my soul was just depleted, and it was a dark chapter, but it wasn't the whole book. And so I just had to shift my thinking. It really just came down to really the basic component of life is breath. And if I could control my breathing and just calm down and get quiet, I got inspired. I listened to that little small voice, and it's that small voice is so much more powerful than the negative chatter voice.
Right.
It really is. And if you can get quiet and just listen and pause, and you will be blown away by the inspired thought that comes in. And if that's really what it had to be for me. And I was forced into that. Really, it was, girl, you just got to breathe. That's all you got. And then I'm like, okay, now I've got to start my life over. And I remember I opened the shades because I'd been like sitting in my bedroom, like, whoa, poor's me. Whoa, you know, I'm so sad. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to open the shades. And it's going to be like the Wizard of Oz, and all the little munchkins are going to go. It wasn't quite like that, right? But I just had to take it one step at a time, and it's really committing to taking action, and it's what is one step I can take today,
right,
in the direction of my dream. And if it just means sitting and getting quiet and getting inspired and thinking, oh, I remember Sally has done this before, so I'm going to call Sally, or I might know people, or maybe there's some things I can research online, or whatever it is. It's baby steps. You can climb Mount Everest one little baby step at a time.
One step at a time. God, listen, Beth, you said it was a dark chapter, but it wasn't the whole book. And what a lot of times what we do, Beth, when we have a dark chapter in our life, what we have a tendency to do as people, we have a tendency, instead of continuing to read past that dark chapter, because it's just a dark chapter. If you've ever read a book, there are chapters, you read the book and you go like, man, this chapter is either boring or this chapter is uninspiring. But if you continue to read, but what we have a tendency to do as people, when we do have a dark chapter, we have a tendency to put a bookmark.
Yep.
There. And we stay right there.
Yeah.
We get a bookmark and we stay there. When I say bookmark, we make an excuse. Well, it's because this, I can't go further. Or well, you know, I didn't grow up like everybody else, so I can't do. Well, you said no one in my family has ever done this, so why should I even try? Why someone who has a past like me, someone who looks like me from my culture, why should I even think that I could do anything better? And those are bookmarks. And all they do is keep us right there. All they do is keep us in that same spot. Well, you know, if my health was better, if I made better choices when I was 20, if I made better choices when I was 30, you know, I didn't grow up on that side of town. All those things are bookmarks. We're reading the book and we come to a chapter in our lives and we have a tendency to place a bookmark and we pause there and say, yeah, if it was meant to happen, it happened by now. That's the one that gets me. If it was supposed to happen, it would have happened by now. If it was supposed to happen, the universe would have brought it to me by now. Maybe it's waiting on you. I heard somebody say this one time, Beth. Someone say, they gave us an analogy. They said this person was they waited and said, instead of waiting for opportunity to knock, build the door so opportunity can. Why are you waiting for opportunity to come to your door? Build the door. Show something so opportunity can know that it has something to knock on. Beth,
I have to tell you, I heard a great thing. This is from my friend Les Brown. He said,
oh yeah, I know. Yes.
You cannot open the door of opportunity with a set of old keys.
Boom. We continue to try to use old methods in a new way, and it's not working.
Yeah.
It's not happening. You can't open that new door. You cannot do it. I like listening to Les Brown. I like listening to Les. I do. And I know you guys are close, so that's really good. But you went from a change. So you changed from personal training, from entertainment, for what you're doing now. So you had to change, and yet you were still hanging on to what you was dreaming. You were still determined that I'm going to keep hanging. I know this has happened in my life, but I'm going to keep. You made this change, Beth. You made this incredible change. Now I gotta say this. You know, I gotta say this because we're talking about hanging on. You might have, and I tell people this. I tell people this all the time, that our topic today is hanging on. Sometimes the best way to do this is by changing hands. Yeah, sometimes the best way to hang on is to change which hand you are using to hang on with. If the left hand gets tired, use the right hand. If the right hand becomes tired, use the left hand. Sometimes the best way to hang on, the best way to do this is changing hands. And that's what you did. You were in entertainment, and then you said that wasn't working for what I needed. You changed hands. You were doing physical fitness. It's okay. Now you kept hanging on. You kept changing hands. Sometimes the best way to hold on to our dreams is to change hands. Now, when you change hands, Beth, when you change hands, you also change your perspective. You also, because the left hand has a different perspective than the right hand. Yeah. And both hands have different perspective than one hand. Yeah. So whenever you change hands and you change what you're doing, you also change perspective. Do you mind, please, Beth, do you mind taking a moment, because you've been through this. You had to change hands, Beth. You've been through this. Do you mind taking a moment and elaborating on how important our perspectives are to our future endeavors and ways in which we can use this changing of the hands as leverage that we need for those changes that we're working towards?
Perspective is everything, Travis. It truly is. And here's another Les Brown. You can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. All right? So you take your perspective, and we like to wallow in a victim story. This horrible thing happened to me, or I had to pivot, or I had to change. And we will tell that victim story to anybody who wants to hear it. But guess what happens? The universe hears that, and they're going to keep sending more negative at you because you're caught up in your conditions and your circumstances that you were talking about before. And you can't see the big picture if that's where you're going to stay. And so you have to step out of it. You have to change hands. You have to change your perspective into what is my dream? And if you can really vision yourself in your dream, like close your eyes, sit with it, and really feel all of it. Where am I? What am I doing? Who's with me? What are the smells? What are the sounds? What are the sights where I am living this dream? And it makes that dream bigger. It gives you life. It's life-giving. And if it isn't, then you need to fine-tune your dream and your perspective on that dream and realize that life is a beautiful gift. And that dream that came into your head, into your heart, it didn't just happen there. It was a gift, and it was uniquely given to just you. And it might be similar to somebody else. I mean, I'm a life coach. There's a bazillion life coaches, right? But I have a very unique perspective on what I'm doing, and my message comes only from me.
Exactly.
And it came from the divine, God, universe, whatever spirit you want to call it. It came to me, and that's why I have to use it. I have to see it through. I have to fulfill it. And if I get caught up in all the circumstances and conditions, and I can't do it because, and this and that, I'm never going anywhere, right?
Never. You're gonna be like this guy right here. You'll be like the first guy that we saw with him hanging onto this rope by both hands from the mountaintop. You'll just be dangling.
Yeah.
And if you notice, Beth, in this picture, he's not climbing.
No, he's holding on.
He's not moving.
Right.
He's just hanging on. And you come to a point with everyone's life that we have to realize at some point we have to start putting hand over hand and begin moving. At some point, we had to make that decision. It's time to put hand over hand, or we're just going to be dangling there. Beth, you had to change hands. The only way you are where you are now is because you changed hands. I wonder, Beth, if a lot of us are where we are because we haven't changed hands yet. And I gotta say this question. Ask this. What are some things that I hear what you're doing, but what are some things that keep you hanging on? What are some things that keep you motivated?
I am motivated because I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be doing. And if I get unmotivated, I can't imagine being unmotivated. I'm always been a driven person, but I keep in my mind. Like I wake up in the morning. I'm like these people who writes a to-do list because I love crossing them off. I don't know. It's just like do laundry, done, or drink water, done. But I started creating something called a to-be list. And that's when I first wake up in the morning. Who do I want to be today? Who am I going to impact? Who needs to hear from me today?
I like that.
How am I showing up in my day-to-day today? And it's a to be. I choose to be positive. I choose to be motivated. I choose to be happy. I choose to be loving, and not just. I'm choosing not to be judgmental, gossipy, or all those other things.
Right.
Be list, and that gives you an extra buzz just getting to cross those off your list, because they don't ever get crossed. They get circled like, oh,
and a star.
yeah. So yeah, it's just it's a choice, and it's a choice you make every day. Every day you wake up, you have a chance to do something new and bold and expansive, and you have a choice to choose how you're going to be and how you're going to act and how you're going to react. Life, right?
I like that to-be list. We hear about the to-do list, but the to-be list. We decide. We do. I tell people this: you do have a say-so in how your day goes.
Exactly.
You do have a say-so in how you feel that day. I get it. Stuff happens to everybody. It's called life.
Hello.
But you have a say-so in how you decide and how you will respond, and making that choice, that conscious choice every day to decide, I'm going to be this, because at the same time you're saying I'm not going to be that.
Right. Exactly.
Man, I told you this was good. Go ahead.
It is truly powerful how you can shift your whole mindset, and you do it before you get out of bed.
That's it.
Like your gratitude list and who I'm going to be today. What are the choices I'm going to make? And that reaction is very key, because when life be life and stuff happens, like I sit back and say, okay, what was the lesson to be learned here? Not like, I can't believe this keeps happening to me, because I want to keep that. Because if I say those words, it's going to keep happening.
It's going to keep happening.
Finally, like, okay, I hear you. Like, all right, this just happened. And then, okay, what was my takeaway here? Like, what was my responsibility, my accountability? But then
correct.
I don't want to repeat this tomorrow. So let's fix this today and get back on track, right?
Because I don't want to take this test again tomorrow.
No.
Guys, we're talking about hanging on. We talked about how we first talked about how a person, when you're hanging on, it appears you're always in a tug of war with what you want. You're in a tug of war with your hope and your dream. You're always in a tug of war with where you want to go and what's held you back. You're always in a tug of war with the dream you're trying to achieve, and you're like the guy hanging by the mountain, Beth. You're too afraid to take that next step. You're unsure. Should I use my right hand? Should I use the left hand, or should I use a foot? It becomes a time when hanging on, you will feel very unsure of yourself. You don't know if you should try it. Should you do it? I don't know what's going to happen, and you become very unsure. Then we talked about the importance of perspective when hanging on. How I see myself. Listen, I'm going to say this to everybody that's listening and everyone that's watching. How you see yourself is more important than how someone else sees you. How you see yourself is more important than how anyone else sees you, because that is the person you have to live with. You have to live with yourself more than you have to live with them. Beth, we're talking about hanging on. Now, what I know you do a lot, and you speak to a lot of different people with what you do, and you find people at different stages where they're hanging on. Maybe they're unsure of themselves. Maybe they had a string of setbacks in their life, or maybe they had a string of failures, what they call failures or disappointments in their life. So you meet people at different stages of hanging on. Maybe they just started, maybe they're in the middle of it, but you meet people in different stages. So what are some practical things that those who are listening can practice every day, or daily things, and you mentioned a couple of them, to remain motivated even after setbacks and challenges and unexpected turns in their life?
I think you have to realize that a challenge or a setback is a setup for a comeback. And they're just qualifiers. If you think about Thomas Edison, he failed thousands of times, and thank God he kept going, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Hold on. No, you're not. No, you're not going to say that and just walk past it. You don't get to walk past that. Say that again.
Which part?
Your setback?
A setback is a setup for a comeback.
What?
They're not my words, and I forget the author who said them.
It doesn't even matter. You said it on the show. It is a setup for a comeback.
Exactly. Beth? These are lessons that you learn. And if you don't learn it the first time, you're going to keep trying and trying until you finally get it. And realize those obstacles are just qualifiers. They're just stepping stones. And if you can stay tuned into your vision, there isn't anything you can't get over around. And you're in your state of becoming. And it's a journey. And the journey is the juice. That's the juice of life, is the daily steps that you take, the minute by minute steps, the choices that you make, and realize that failure is a word. It doesn't mean that you should never try it again. It just means that you need to take a course correction and take a different path. And that's really all it is. That's what a qualifier is. It's like, I tried that, it didn't work, so I'm going to try it this way. It doesn't mean I'm a failure. Wow. It just means that thing I tried didn't work. Right? But you have to come from the core, the center and the heart of your dream. And that's what you have to get back to when you find yourself getting negative and, oh man, I tried that thing that I saw on YouTube and it didn't work, and I suck. You know, there's always that analogy of watching a baby. I'm a new grandma, and she's like this far away from walking.
Congrats.
And so she'll take a step and she falls in her butt, right? So we don't go, oh, well, I guess you're just not going to be a walker. We're not, no. He keeps trying, and we keep. So if you could think about it, as comical as that is, that's really as simple it is for all of us, whatever it is. Whatever it is, if you can feel that drive, that passion, that dream, and you see it there, you know, that what I do is I find out where you are and we fill the gap. But you have to realize that you are worthy of it, and it is your birthright to live a life you truly love, to have your dreams, all of your dreams.
Man, failure, you said failure does not mean you don't have to try it again.
Right. It just means you need to course correct.
Wow.
That's all it is. Whatever that step was you tried.
Right.
It didn't work. And again, we'd all be sitting in the dark if Thomas Edison did. We'd all be sitting down because we'd never walk, right? Like,
exactly. We'd be crawling. If that. Exactly. Beth, this is the stuff we're talking about that we need to hear, because a lot of times people were taught that the reason you failed is because you weren't supposed to do it anyhow, or you failed because you're no good. You failed because you're not good at anything. And our self-value, we begin to devalue who we are as an individual and devalue ourselves because there's a setback, because there's a failure. Failure doesn't mean, you think every book that has ever been written, every movie that has ever been produced, and every song that has ever been produced, you think they got it right the first time?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. That's why they have this thing that's called a rewrite. Yeah. If we don't get it right the first time, you have a rewrite. If they write an article and the person that's writing the article, they take it to their publisher. The publisher will look over it. The publisher will read it, and they will make small edits and send it back to them and say, I need you to do this. This is a rewrite. If you ever turned in paper at school, maybe you had to write a book report on something. and you turned it in, and your teacher had all these little red marks on it, and they said, this is a rewrite. Maybe what you just need is just a rewrite. Maybe you don't need to wipe your hands completely of your dream. Maybe you just need a rewrite. Beth, don't throw away everything you had. Maybe all you need is a rewrite. Maybe right now, Beth, some people that's listening is in the middle of their rewrite. It don't seem like nothing's going your way. Doesn't seem like anything's working out. Seems like everything that you're trying, there's an X over here, there's an X over here. Don't say that you're a failure. You're in the middle of a rewrite. And Beth, the rewrite, once it's completed, always comes out better than the first draft. What I'm saying is you're coming out better than you started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just have to believe.
That's it.
And find people who believe in you. I have these bands that say, I believe. And every time I get a negative thought, like, oh, that I suck at that, or snap the band.
See?
It's like, oh, that's not the truth of me. And the reason that feels bad, when you get caught up in that negativity and like, oh, I'm a failure and I keep trying and it's not working, and you get mired down in that, it's just, you have to repattern the thinking and snap the band and go, this doesn't feel good because it's not the truth about me. It's not the truth. And that's why it doesn't feel good. And it feels great when you achieve something or something great happens in your life and you feel great, right? Well, because you feel great because that is the truth of you.
Man.
We're energetic beings, right? We just got to keep believing.
I told y'all this was good. Man, listen, when we're talking about hanging on, we mentioned earlier that you might have to use a different hand, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you should completely let go. You might have to use a different perspective, a different approach. You might need to use a partner. You might even need to partner with someone who's been where you are trying to go. We mentioned that earlier, Beth. You might have to partner with someone who's been where you're trying to go. Each time that we continue to try, it's like using a different hand. Maybe the frustration we have been experiencing and the feelings of being tired are not a sign that we should let go of our hope and our dreams. Maybe it's the sign that we have been using the same hand, the same ideas our parents used. It only took them so far. The same ideas another generation used. It only took them so far. The same ideas we were learned in our culture and in our generation, those things will only take us so far, Beth. You know why? Because we're using the same hand. Maybe we've been frustrated. Maybe we've been tired, Beth, because we've been using the same hand, the same ideas we saw on social media. Let me tell you this. You will always feel it more when you are trying to use someone else's grip.
Wow.
You will.
Impactful.
You will. Beth, if you and I have different grips, if you're stronger, if I'm weaker, if my grip is weaker and your grip is stronger, and you try to use my grip, Beth, you won't be able to hold on that long. You'll get tired quicker. You will always feel it more when you try to use someone else's grip. It reminded me, Beth, have you ever heard of the story of this very popular story, David and Goliath?
Of course, yes.
Okay. All right. So in this story, to everybody who's not familiar with the story, David and Goliath, has this little boy named David who kills this giant named Goliath with a slingshot and some rocks, right? But prior to that, the king wanted David to put on his suit of armor. David said, man, I've never used this armor before. I've never had on armor at all. And David said, look, I'm going to take this off. All I got is my slingshot and my rocks, and I'm going to do it. He was not successful trying to use the king's grip.
Oh, that's awesome.
He could only use his grip. You can only use your grip. You can only use what you were born with. Even if you have to partner with somebody else. If you have to pick up 5 rocks, that's what you know. You have to use what you have, even if you partner with someone else. Beth, I can't use your grip.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Now, I got to talk about this, though, Beth. I got to. And the reason I want to bring this up is because you used a different hand to get where you are. And you used a different hand to keep hanging on. And you said you had to rediscover yourself and you rediscover your dream. So to me, what that tells me, Beth, is this. I want to talk about the necessity of doing something else. The necessity of doing something else. And hanging on to our dreams sometimes does require doing something else. And I'm not talking about using a different perspective. I'm not talking about what if the dream or the goal. I'm talking about what if the dream or the goal that you have, that you're pursuing, is not the one that you should be pursuing. What if the dream or the goal that you have is not in the thing that you're pursuing? What if you're pursuing something, but your goal and your dream is really not in that thing?
So I think you have to really discover, is that my soul's journey?
Yep.
You spoke before, we do things that has always been done. Our family did it this way, or in our culture, or whatever, or mom and dad said I should be a doctor.
Yep.
But your dream is to be a teacher. But you're going to go because mom and dad said, no, you should be a doctor. And then it doesn't feel good because it's not your soul's journey. And so I think you have to sort of test your dream. And does this dream give me life? Does this dream require the help from a higher power? And does this dream make me come alive? Does it align with my core values? Because it's all great. Doctors are great. I couldn't be one. It doesn't align with my core values. I like to sleep at night. I don't want to be on call. So I had to get into what is my soul's journey. And if I stepped out and I was like, this doesn't feel good, this isn't giving me life, then I course correct. It's just like when you do things that don't work out. You have to recognize it. I call it notice what you're noticing. And when it doesn't feel right, there's something that's butting ahead, there's friction, then you just have to take a step back and get real in tune. What is my true dream? And you could go different tangents, but what's the center part of your dream? It's your dream. It's not mom and dad's dream. It's not your friend's dream. It's your dream. And it doesn't matter what anybody else is thinking or saying about you. And, there's a lot of negative Nellies, and, they just they don't hang out with me anymore.
Oh, wait. I had a guest on the show, Beth, and his family owned a plumbing company. His great granddad owned it. Then his granddad owned it. His dad owned it. And so the expectation was that he was going to take over the family business, become a plumber. Mm-hmm. So life had happened, and he had already been working with his dad and training how to do all that stuff. Life happened. He had an accident, Beth, where he had to get some physical therapy done. And just so happens the person he went to was a chiropractor. Well, he went to the chiropractor and loved what the guy was doing. He became a chiropractor. Told his dad really fully supported him. And Dr. Dave, I know you're probably listening. So he went to his dad and told his dad. His dad said, man, no one in our family has a history of being a doctor. We're all plumbers. He said, man, I completely support you. Sometimes what the thing that we're pursuing, that dream, your goal, your heart is not in that. You have to have that courage, and it takes courage. He said, man, it took courage for me to tell my dad, because this was generations. This was generations of people being plumbers. We were generational plumbers, and here I am. I'm about to change our generation. I'm breaking the generation. What you have, the dream that you have, you may be the only one in your generation that's doing it. You may be the only one in your family that has ever achieved it. Listen, you may be the only one who's ever done or think about doing what you're doing. There may be no record of anybody in your family ever doing what you're doing. Don't let that stop you.
Nope.
Don't let that stop you. Listen, the only one means you're the first one. That's what that means. The only one means you're the first one. If you're the only one to do it, that means you're also the first one to do it. And I believe, Beth, that there are some first generation people listening to the show. As a matter of fact, if you know that your dream is bigger than what you've ever had, if it's bigger than what your parents had, bigger than what your grandparents had, I want you to put it in chat and just type, I'm first. I'm first. Yeah, you be the first one. I'm first. Whatever that first one is, just type. And if you're not watching, say it to yourself out loud. You know I'm a firm believer of positive confession. Go ahead and say it before you wake up in the morning, before your feet hit the bed. Say it, I'm first. And then begin to fill in that blank with what you want to be first with. I'm first. I'm the first one to feel good like this today. I'm the first one to make it today. I'm the first one who won't get frustrated. Go ahead and fill in the blank. Beth,
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. I have to tell you, that accident happened for a reason.
Listen, I told Dr. Dave the same thing. I said, Dr. Dave, it might have been an accident to you, but it repurposed you. He said, man, I believe that accident was divine. He said, because I would have been a plumber. He said, but even though I was helping my dad, I knew there was something more inside of me.
Right?
I knew I could do something more. So here he was. He would have been a plumber fixing on someone else's pipes and fixing their issue, when all the while inside him was a chiropractor to fix somebody's life.
Yeah.
He's still doing the same thing, but he's working on some people's life.
That's awesome.
The same skill set is there. He's just using it in a different environment. Yeah. And Dr. Dave, I know you're listening, so just shout out to you there in Florida, man.
That's so cool.
So Beth, what is some information that you would provide to individuals who you speak? What is some information that you provide to individuals who you speak with who feel they're losing their grip on their dreams and their goals?
You've got to get quiet. You've got to turn down the noise, the negative Nellies, and look around your circle of friends. And, are they people that inspire you? Are there people that are doing things? Because, Sidney Poitier said in his book, I think it was A Measure of a Man, a funny thing happens when you take a walk with someone. You either adjust to their pace or they adjust to yours.
Oh, yes.
Whose pace are you keeping up with? And so you really have to get quiet and let inspired thought come in and allow it in. And you can't allow it in if you're pushing and you have resistance. And, you have the grip. And I always say that you can hold on to a balloon that's going to take you to the stratosphere with your dream, but you've got another ankle weight down here.
My.
You got to let go of one. And I suggest you hold on to this one with two hands and soar. Just go.
Man, I told y'all this was going to be a great episode. I didn't make it up. I told you that. I told you that. But I like to ask this of all of my guests. I do. I do. What is something you would say to those listening? To if they feel like you know what, I should quit. I should give up. Maybe I've had enough setbacks. Maybe they should say, this is just going to end in another setback for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, we have to change the perspective on that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to go back to, you were born with a certain set of gifts and talents, and only you have them, and only you know how to use them. But you can't tap in and tune in to how of that knowing when you're stuck in the quagmire of negativity. And so you have to realize you were given gifts for a reason.
That's right.
And it's your responsibility to use them. Don't take them to your grave with you.
Man, that I love, Beth. That I love. Guys, I want to thank our very special guest, Beth Robbins, for being here today. Beth, thank you so much for being part of the show. Guys, listen, there are times when things will appear, when things kind of will appear, or I'll just put it this way. There are times when things will appear, the better decision is to just let go of everything. Sometimes it just seems like it's just best to just let go of everything. Maybe because we've been gotten a little bit older, maybe it's because some health challenges, maybe it's because our lives have taken unexpected twists and turns. Just maybe the solution isn't letting go of everything. Maybe we just need to adjust our grip and hang in there. Guys, I want to thank our very special guest, Beth Robbins, for being here today. Guys, listen, you know how we like to do it, guys. Listen, you can join us each week right here, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern to listen to the show. Or you can stream on your favorite platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMusic, and so many more. Guys, we got to get out of here. But as always, imparting, if you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good. I'm out of here. I got to go. Peace, y'all.